So sometimes it can be a bit tricky to find, a really solid work-friendly fragrance that also has good performance. The thing is, a lot of people gravitate towards the fresher, cleaner, easier to wear scents, and that's great. That's perfect for a work environment, whether you work indoors or even outdoors, I suppose, and you want to smell just presentable. If you're out working and sweating, you don't want a sweet fragrance, right? But the problem comes when you're trying to strike a balance between very wearable and inoffensive and also good performing, because a lot of times the citruses, the musks, the light, fresh fragrances may not always have the best performance. And let's say most people are working, 8 hours a day at a minimum. A lot of people I know work 12 hours and over that, so it can be hard to find something that will accommodate that whole length of time when you are at work. Until this video anyway, we've got 10 fragrances that are work friendly no matter what type of job you have, but also they have good performance, like very good performance. You will be shocked at a few of these in here, or all of them are good, but some of these are just incredibly strong. 8 designers, 2 niche. They will all be linked down below to discounters, so you can pick them up at a price below retail. I'm going to try to run through this one a little bit quicker here. I'll try to get through this as fast as possible because you guys got to get to work, right? So we're going to start off with Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. So this one has iris, tonka bean, cypress. Don't let the iris and the tonka bean fool you into thinking that it's going to be challenging or super, super sweet or anything along that line. The cypress, the woods, the aromatics in here freshen this one up a lot. Very wearable stuff. It is an eau de toilette, obviously. It's an eau de toilette intense, but don't let that fool you either. This one packs a punch from projection to longevity, but it's also not too loud either. And it's one of those fragrances that is so pleasant that if it is kind of pushing into someone's personal space a little bit and they're smelling it, I don't really think they're going to be taken back by it. It's one that packs a serious punch, and it may not look like much on the outside. It's an eau de toilette intense. It's a newer Givenchy fragrance. You may be thinking, oh, it's just not going to really do that well, but this one may surprise you. So this next one is a fragrance that for a while was going for $32 for 100 milliliters. Now, the going rate is 50 plus for this, for 100 mil. So there was a really good deal going on this one, and I have to apologize in advance and say that there's a possibility that it will be sold out by the time this goes live. I have no idea when this video is going to go up, but just know I'm trying for you. AZZARO Chrome Extreme. It will be that second link down below, and hopefully I think they should still have some by the time this goes up. And actually it'll be $32 for 100 mil and $32 for 50 mils, currently how it's priced out. You know which one makes sense the most, right? And like I said, mostly it's going 50 plus for 100 mil. For whatever reason, this one has always been a little bit more expensive. The price hasn't quite come down as low as some of the other AZZARO Chrome flankers. Maybe it'll get there consistently one day. But like I said, this one is hard to beat at $50, let alone at $30. C notes, orange and juniper berries are just a few of the main notes. You get some musk in here as well. It has a little bit of an Acqua di Gio Profondo smell with the C notes and orange. There's a little bit of a mineral notes smell, like in Profondo. That's kind of what that one's known for. It's aquatic, of course, as well. This DNA is an absolute workhorse for smelling pleasant and getting good compliments, basically. That's what this one does. My girlfriend loves Profondo on my skin. She also really likes this one. And you'll find that if you were to kind of get the opinions of a lot of people around you and you kind of have them smell it side by side, I think most people will be able to pick out that there are similarities. This one is at a fraction of the price. What's also really nice about this one is it is an eau de parfum. It packs a big punch. It's a good projector. Good long-lasting performance out of this one, and it definitely shines in the summertime. So no matter if you have an office job or an indoor job and it's summertime, you want something fresh and uplifting, this is going to work. Or if you work outdoors, if you are in the trades, if you just, don't work inside a building all day, this also works nice because it has that refreshing smell. It has that clean smell. It's something that I think will pick you up and help boost your mood throughout the day when you smell this one. Packs a lot of punch for, a little price. So we're going to step it up here in price point a little bit to something that is, I guess a bit more luxurious in a way. I've always kind of described this DNA as such. It has this kind of, refined, masculine, upscale, and expensive smell a little bit. It's from the Terre d'Hermès line. This one is Eau Intense Vetiver. So you could have put the original, you could have put the Parfum, and even Eau Très Fresh. It does good for what it is, although not as strong as this one, admittedly. But it could have been in here, I guess. But for me, I wanted to go with Eau Intense Vetiver because, it kind of tones back the, super earthiness and the oranginess of the original and the Parfum. You've heard it described in such way a million times, a dirty, earthy orange, and to be fair, that is a very, very solid description for the original and the Parfum. And this one kind of steers away from that. If the original Terre d'Hermès is a bit too much for you, if you find personally that maybe it would be a bit too much for your coworkers, then you could step down to something like Terre d'Hermès. And it's not even stepping down. This one is still very good. Quality is impeccable from opening to dry down, and the performance is great. This one is also concentrated as an eau de parfum. It wears like one. Projection is good. Longevity is great. So let's jump over to a niche fragrance. Now, don't get too nervous just yet because you think niche and you immediately think $200, $300, $400. And that's not the case here for this one. And that's why I love to include this one whenever it fits. And it definitely does here from MANCERA. This is CEDRAT BOISE. Pricing can be all over the place. Fragrance Net currently $120 for 120 milliliters. That's literally $1 per milliliter. And that is just unheard of with niche fragrances. And it gets better. FRAGRANCEBUY had these in for, it was either $80 or $90 at one point for 120 milliliters. You're talking cheaper than some designer fragrances, and that's absurd. Now, if it's in stock with them, I will link that one down below. If not, I will link Fragrance Net. Who knows when they're going to restock at that price point. It may be a while because they go quick when they do come in. But the point is, this one's fantastic. It's got black currant, fruity notes, woody notes. It's one of those fragrances that is easy for me to overlook in my collection, given that I have a lot of things, and I'm always testing things and trying new things out for the channel. And the reason why it's kind of easy for me to overlook, not because the scent is boring, it's the opposite of that. This is a fantastic scent, so vibrant, so high quality. But it's because it's such a do-it-all fragrance, right? A lot of times I find myself on days where I'm wearing something personally to either go for an all-out winter fragrance or an all-out summer fragrance, right? Depending on the season. This one's kind of an all-year-rounder. It's one that can cover anything from casual to formal to a date night to fall, winter, spring, summer. It does it all. And fragrances like that do get neglected by me a little bit. But I'm telling you, every time I smell this one, I wish I would wear it more. And in fact, we'll just change that right now, and we'll wear it more. It's an eau de parfum. It's a strong performer, like no joke. This will last on your skin 12 plus hours minimum, at least for me. It does on my skin. 12 plus, without a question. It doesn't even bat an eye. It doesn't break a sweat. It'll still keep going into the next day. I've smelled this one on my skin in the next morning, and it's a strong projector as well. This stuff gets it done, and people love it. So let's go back over to the designer side. We'll get back down to earth, even though that wasn't too expensive. This is MISSONI Parfum. So this one has grapefruit, ginger, birch. There's some other woods in here. I believe some other citrus as well. Gets compared to Bleu de Chanel, and it kind of fits into that category a little bit. It does have the grapefruit. It does have the birch, kind of giving off a smokiness, kind of like the incense would do in Bleu de Chanel. Very, very clean. Very, very pleasant. Another huge mass-pleasing scent that it would be hard to find someone who dislikes it. Maybe not everyone would fall in love with it and think it's the best thing ever, but I think it would be very rare to find someone who hates it. So this is actually not a parfum. This is an eau de parfum, but it is still a good performer. Strong stuff, but not too strong either. It kind of strikes a nice balance there. It projects just enough to get you noticed. It lasts long enough to get you through a work day. It really does it in a nice, refined way. Not too much of anything. Same with the scent DNA. It's not too far in one direction or the other, whether it be too fresh or too sweet or too woody or too musky or whatever. It just kind of strikes a nice balance in the middle there of something that is super easy to pull off in the workplace. So now we're going to go over to Chanel. This one is Platinum EGOISTE. And this is an eau de toilette, but don't let that fool you either. You guys know, after seeing a couple of them in here, that eau de toilette, sometimes they don't mess around, and this one definitely does not. It has lavender, geranium, rosemary. It's aromatic, it's green, it's a little bit herbal, but primarily it's aromatic. It's kind of an aromatic fougere, but it's a modern take on it. A lot of times you think of barbershop fragrances or aromatic fougères and think of a grandpa smelling fragrance, so to speak. That is not the case with this one at all. It is one that is so pleasant, so wearable. You're going to love it. It's going to last all day throughout the workplace. It gets the job done, and it quickly rose to the top of my favorites, as soon as I got this one in my collection. Next up, we've got Parfums de Marly Sedley. So this will be the second and final niche fragrance, and this one does happen to be a bit more expensive than the MANCERA by $100 or so. The Parfums de Marlys are going to be more expensive. That's just how they are. But with that being said, for the price point, you still get a lot of fragrance. Now, not going to be in everyone's budget for sure, but if you want something that is going to be maybe more of a niche experience. I mean, MANCERA, they have great presentation, great bottles, but, people do love their Parfums de Marlys. If you're just wanting to spend a bit more and start building up your Parfums de Marly collection, this is a good place to start on the fresh side here, Sedley. This one's got mint, ambroxan, lavender, a bunch of other fresh notes, a bunch of other citrus. I've been a big fan of Sedley for a long time as well, ever since I first got it in my collection. And what's funny is I actually got Sedley and Percival at the same exact time, ordered them at the same time. That was when I was new to Parfums de Marly, and I basically just had to rip the Band-Aid off and start buying them because I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit. The price point was something I wasn't too enthused about. And it's just hard for me sometimes to dive into a new fragrance line. It can be overwhelming, and that's why I like to do buying guides to help you with that as well. So the long story short, I was like, all right, let's just start getting some. I got the two fresh ones at the same time, the two kind of heavy hitters. And for days, I was testing them, and I'm like, which one do I like better? Because I loved both of them, still do. And, it took some time, but I did realize that, if I had to choose only one, I would choose Sedley. Percival is very musk forward, smells great, great fragrance, but I like the brightness and the effervescence of Sedley a bit more. And also, what's crazy, it is a brutal performer. It kills it in the summertime. Very strong projection in the heat, great longevity. There were issues, but then Parfums de Marly actually went back and they fixed it. They upped the performance. So now if you buy it at discounters or retail, you're going to get the new and improved, long-lasting, strong one. I don't know if you can see this or not, and this is not going to look like much at all, but there's a dent. And when you have as many ridiculous bottles as I do, a dent of any kind is pretty cool to see. It shows that I thoroughly enjoy this one in the summertime. Fantastic work scent if you're wanting to spend a bit of money, and it could be a special occasion work scent, not something that you have to wear every day for obvious reasons. So let's go to Dior up next. We can't include a Chanel without including a Dior. Well, actually I could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to throw in Dior Homme 2020 Cashmerean, ISO E Super, Vetiver, Bergamot. It is the quintessential modern men's fragrance. I've said that ad nauseum at this point, but I stick to it, and that's what this is. Imagine a guy in a suit or a blazer, and he's in a big city, Chicago, New York, somewhere in California, and he's walking through the streets or walking into a high-end department store. He's got the whole outfit going. He's well-groomed. He's well taken care of, and he's wearing a fragrance. What fragrance would that be? That would be this one, the modern men's fragrance. This stuff works great. While from a fragrance enthusiast standpoint, it may not excite you, it definitely doesn't really excite me. I do have to step back and take a look at this one and realize that it is really good at what it does and what it's set out to do, and that is to be a very wearable, good performing men's fragrance. My girlfriend loves this stuff as well. Ever since I first got it, she loved it. And so, there's a dent in this one as well because, I like to wear it because she likes it. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Great stuff, great performer. Price point really isn't terrible at discounters either. Not awful, not cheap, but, it can be justified in a lot of situations given the performance and all of that stuff. Great mass appeal, great work scent. We're just going to go right here up next. We're going to basically continue the trend of fragrances that don't excite me, but admittedly do work very well, and that is AZZARO Wanted, just the original one here. Wanted by Night, one that definitely excites me, love that stuff. The Most Wanted, big fan as well, But when it comes down to it, the original Wanted, with that freshness and that aromatic touch, is a great work scent that is nuclear. So this one has tonka, lemon, and apple. It's a little bit sweet, very lemon heavy. The way I describe it is it's kind of a lemon heavy Invictus fragrance, basically, is how it is. So it has that DNA going on, but more fresh also in some ways from the lemon and the apple, that sort of thing. And like I mentioned a second ago, it is actually nuclear, super strong, ridiculously strong. Like, you do not need any more performance out of this one. And depending on your work environment, you know, you may want to think twice about this one. This is one of the few that is almost too strong. At least it would be for some in certain environments, and depending on how comfortable they are with having a strong fragrance. Close encounter office space, unless you want to be super loud with your fragrance, you may want to dial it back heavily or choose something else. Working outdoors, you know, whatever, and you want something strong, this would be one that you would go for. Last up, we have Ferragamo Intense Leather by, Ferragamo. Doesn't get much more simple than that. Leather, orange, and apple are a few of the main notes. What this one smells like is it smells a little bit like Tom Ford Ombre Leather, but at a fraction of the price. This one is an eau de parfum, so they did increase the performance over the original Ferragamo, which is an EDT. And again, you get that nice leather in here. Now, it's a very wearable leather, very work-friendly, very mass-pleasing. This is something that will set you apart and have you smelling more unique than probably, some of the other fragrances in here, which may trend more safe. This one's still safe, but with a different twist that I really enjoy. It's kind of ozonic as well. Oh, I forgot. The atomizer. Did you see that? I hope you did. Leathery, spicy, fresh, ozonic, a little bit sweet. We'll do that again. I gotta admit, that was pretty fun. See if I can get some focus. I mean, that's a fantastic pressurized atomizer. I mean, that's you could just sit here and spray that all day. Strong performer, great work scent, something to set you apart and have you smelling a bit unique. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. That is 10 work-friendly fragrances that also have great performance. These are no joke. Some are more affordable than others, depending on your budgeting here and kind of what you're after. You can make your own decisions and your own choices with this. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. Links to these down below. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.